Welcome in to News and Views with Tom Lamprecht. The stories you've heard and the ones you need to hear.
What did happen on January 6th?
Senate Republicans opposed the commission.
There's no new facts.
Because they fear that it might upset Donald Trump.
They're afraid of the former president and what he'll say of them.
Get to the origins or the genesis of this pandemic.
The Biden administration's
given the intelligence community 90 days.
Ready for the reemergence of Memorial Day travel.
We paused to remember them on Memorial Day.
Your life, your values, your voice. This is News and Views with Tom Lamprecht on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
All right, welcome in and a happy Memorial Day weekend. Our thanks to those who gave the last full measure, laid down their lives for our protection, our freedoms. Thanks to those of you who have lost a loved one who gave the last full measure. It is an important weekend. It ought to be. I know it's the start of summer, the unofficial start of summer, but it's also a great time of remembrance. WITN News is reporting on a story we talked about yesterday afternoon. Greenville police say a suspect has been arrested following a shootout between two cars that left one man dead and another one wounded. Police have charged 20-year-old Daryl Kendrick of Winterville with first-degree murder. He was located in Raleigh. He was scheduled to make his first appearance in the Pitt County court system earlier this morning. The shooting happened around 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon at the Dollar General on Stantonsburg Road. Police say a car with two shooting victims drove to Vitan Medical Center. Police Chief Mark Holtzman said one of those men, identified as 21-year-old Latrell Heath, died, while his brother, 27-year-old Kevin Heath, has a non-life-threatening injury. Both men are in their mid-20s, according to the chief. Evidence at the scene shows there were at least two shooters involved. It appears that both of the vehicles were parked on the side of the building for some sort of meeting. Officers said they found a possible murder weapon on Mazingo Road that had been tossed out. Obviously, Mazingo Road is on the west side of Greenville. The individual was on his way to Raleigh when he decided to toss the weapon. The inflation news has come out, and it's not good. Inflation rates are soaring at their fastest pace in decades, according to new numbers released on Friday by the U.S. government. The Bureau of Economic Analytics, personal consumption expenditures inflation measured by 3.6% in April from the prior year. That is the strongest reading in 13 years and more than 3.5% gain that The Economist and a Bloomberg survey had expected. The New York Times reported the core price index, which strips out volatile food and fuel prices, rose 3.1% in the year through April, the fastest pace since 1992. Prices rose 0.7% compared with the prior month, the biggest increase in 2 decades. Larry Summers, a former official in the Clinton and Obama administrations, warned that Biden is overdoing it. This is not from a conservative. Larry Summers is very progressive, very liberal. He says the sense of serenity and complacency being projected by the economic policymakers that this is all something that can be easily managed is misplaced. We're taking very substantial risks on the inflation side, Summers says. The Fed's idea used to be that it removed the punch bowl before it got to the party. Now the Fed's doctrine is that it will only remove the punch bowl after it sees some people staggering around drunk. Again, this is from Larry Summers. Now, to top off that, Biden yesterday, late yesterday, just before the holiday weekend, trying to conveniently shove it under the carpet, he has dropped his massive budget. President Biden released his $6 trillion budget yesterday afternoon, just in time for the 3-day Memorial Day weekend. The bill would be the biggest spending since World War II, will increase taxes for all Americans. I mean, and this, again, go back to what Biden said in the campaign, go back to what Obama lied to us about when it came to your medical expenditures. No, you won't pay one more dime. In fact, you'll save money with Obama. You'll save money with Biden. I mean, what did Biden say? What was it? $400,000. Anybody making less than $400,000 won't pay a dime more. Yeah, right. This is not going over well. A number of commentators and members of Congress are saying this is going to bankrupt America. The guy's delusional. And what's he doing? He's out buying ice cream cones. And the media is just fawning all over him. Not good. You know, what's interesting is right now, with the way the economy is going, with the way crime is going, with the way our foreign relations are going, what you see happening overseas, where you have a president that was a part of an administration who financed, and he wants to finance again, Iran, the biggest perpetrator of terror around the globe. Matt Vespa of Town Hall, he's got an interesting article out talking about the fact that, go back to 2012, everything that Mitt Romney said would happen under the second term of Obama happened. Russia ran amok, Obamacare was a disaster, premiums rose, hurt the middle class, job growth was anemic. Now, add to that everything that Donald Trump said would happen if you elected Joe Biden, all the things that were in Obama's administration, add to that a little bit of Jimmy Carter with gas lines, more inflation, another war in the Gaza, and Joe's out buying ice cream cones. Connect all these dots and take a look at a story out of the Hill that if Donald Trump decides to run in 2024, apparently it's his for the taking in terms of the primary and probably in terms of the general election if things keep going like they've been going for the first 5 months of the Obama presidency, or I'm sorry, the Biden presidency. My mistake. Easy mistake to make. A majority of Republicans want Trump to run for the White House in 2024 as he mulls a comeback bid. This according to a new Quinnipiac University poll released on Wednesday. 66% of Republicans say they want Trump to run for a third time after winning in the 2016 and losing in 2020, compared with 25% of Republicans who say the former president should not run in 2024. Now, here's the interesting thing. So 66% want him to run. Of the 25% who say that they don't want him to run, what percentage of that 25%, even though they say they don't want him to run, would still vote for him in the general election? I would think a large majority of that 25% would. On top of that, 85% of Republicans polled say they want candidates running for elected office to agree with the former president, compared to just 10% who said they want contenders who mostly disagree with him. 85%. 85% say, give us someone with Trump's ideology. The number is another indication that the former president remains a leader in the Republican Party, holds sway over the GOP down-ballot candidates. Trump isn't going away. Of course, Trump will be here in Greenville in eastern North Carolina next Saturday night, speaking to the North Carolina State Convention, the Republican Party Convention. And obviously, North Carolina is a key state. It was last time. It will be next time. The fact that Donald Trump has selected North Carolina to come speak, I'd say is an indication that he is giving serious consideration to running again in 2024. Obviously, he has said he wants to help the candidates in 2022 in the midterms. Certainly, you could say that's part of it. But I would also say that very, very likely 2024 is on his mind. Yeah, but the other issue, so you got the economy, but you also have the violence that you see happening around the country. And the interesting thing is the media doesn't get it, apparently. Fox News had an interesting story out today. Amid growing crime rates across the country, members of the media appear more concerned about how disrupting and disturbing this trend is, as it could hurt Democrats and help the GOP in future elections. They're more concerned with that than they are with the violence itself. Liberal CNN analyst John Avlon addressed the spike in the crime in his #RealityCheck segment Thursday and how it's prompting a reassessment of the defund the police rhetoric and reality. Quote, Joe Biden is president and Democrats control both houses of Congress, and you can bet that the rising crime will be an issue in the 2022 campaign. New York Times columnist Michelle Goldberg sounded the alarm about the rising anti-Semitic crimes that have plagued the nation amid the Israel-Hamas conflict. But her worry wasn't only about the violence perpetrated against Jewish Americans. Rather, her column fretted that it was a gift to the right, as the headline read before it was quietly scrubbed by the paper. Quote, not surprisingly, there has been a rush to blame left-wing Democrats like Ilhan Omar for inciting anti-Jewish hostility, Goldberg wrote. And the New York Times scrubbed that headline. I mean, they're just compounding the issue. They're doing the same thing that big tech did during the last general election. They're continuing to go down the same path, that they are censoring the truth. They're censoring the news of their own people, of their own liberal people. Last week, her Times colleague Ezra Klein called the rising crime rates a crisis for the broader liberal project. Quote, fear of violence undermines liberal policies. Just look at America post 9/11. If these numbers keep getting worse, then as with Nixon and Reagan in the 1970s and 80s, it could bring law and order conservatives, including Trump, back to power in 2024. Oh, that would be terrible. During the 2020 presidential election, CNN anchor Don Lemon warned Democrats that taking the rioting seriously amid the unrest following the police shooting of Jacob Blake, quote, I think this is a blind spot for Democrats. What these buffoons do not realize, it is not a blind spot. That's not the problem. In fact, they are the cause of the problem. They, along with the people they're carrying the water for, the liberals, the progressives, when you eliminate bail for criminals, when you have an open border, when you elect a man who was all in for financing the biggest terrorist state in the nation, in the world, Iran, when you undermine ICE, you are the cause of the violence. And again, you take the violence, you take the economy, and it's going to look pretty good for Republicans in 2022. I realize 2022 is still a long time away in political years. 2024 is even further away. I don't see the Democrats backing down, the progressives backing down. Maybe the Joe Manchins, but even Joe. I mean, you know, when it comes time to take the actual vote, Joe is not there. Joe's usually with the Nancy Pelosi's, the Chucky Schumers of the world. It's pray that the Lord allows us to survive for the next 18 months, for the next 3.5 years, and pray that we would actually have a fair and honest election. We're going to take a time out. Stay with us. Interesting report out of the Carolina Journal and Surry County, North Carolina. We'll have that when we get back.
Some time back, I received in the name of our country the bodies of 4 Marines who had died while on active duty. I said then that there is a special sadness that accompanies the death of a serviceman, for we're never quite good enough to them. Not really, we can't be, because what they gave us is beyond our powers to repay. And so when a serviceman dies, it's a tear in the fabric, a break in the whole, and all we can do is remember. It is, in a way, an odd thing to honor those who died in defense of our country, in defense of us, in wars far away. The imagination plays a trick. We see these soldiers in our mind as old and wise. We see them as something like the founding fathers, grave and gray-haired. But most of them were boys when they died, and they gave up 2 lives, the one they were living and the one they would have lived. When they died, they gave up their chance to be husbands and fathers and grandfathers. They gave up their chance to be revered old men. They gave up everything for our country, for us. We owe them a debt we can never repay. All we can do is remember them and what they did and why they had to be brave for us.
This is your Drive at 5 and ENC with Tom Lamprecht. Welcome back to News and Views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
All right, welcome back in. Taking a look at your Memorial weekend weather forecast. Tonight, a chance of showers and thunderstorms. Mostly cloudy, low around 71. Chance of rain tonight, 30%. Saturday, partly cloudy, some thunderstorm showers coming through. Chance of rain tomorrow, 70%. Tomorrow night, showers likely, down to 60%. A low tomorrow night of around 61 degrees. Sunday is going to be cool, 68 degrees, a 30% chance of rain. Memorial Day itself is going to be perfect sunshine, a high near 80. Weather brought to you by our friends at University PC Care. They've been Eastern North Carolina's go-to IT experts for quite a while now. Unfortunately, most organizations simply react to IT issues after the damage is done. This is known as the break-fix cycle in the tech industry. One quick example, you show up to work, your computer's down, you submit a repair ticket, you show up with a tech or they remote you in, and you're losing productivity, you're losing files. University PC Care has a better way, a proactive way called BizCare. Want to know more? Call William at 394-8572 to schedule a free BizCare consultation or go to University PC Care to learn more. We have all heard by now about these corporate woke stories, particularly out of Atlanta, Major League Baseball, Delta Airlines, Coca-Cola. And if you're like me, you'd like to go and shake these corporate CEOs and tell them, hey, a significant number of us who have been your customers in the past are conservatives. And we disagree with your corporate wokeness. And if you're going to pursue this liberalism, we'll simply find another vendor to take our business to. You want to do that, and you feel like, well, would I be the only person? There is some refreshing news out of Surry County, North Carolina. The Carolina Journal is reporting Surry County commissioners are pushing back against major corporations for what they describe as, quote, bigoted, left-wing, divisive political agenda. The first step that they have voted on, this is the Board of County Commissioners from Surry County. They have voted to remove all Coca-Cola machines from government buildings, roughly 12 machines. Now, granted, that's not going to bankrupt Coca-Cola, but it is sending a message. And on the phone to talk to us about this right now is Surry County Commissioner Eddie Harris. Eddie, thank you for joining us.
I'm glad to be here, Tom. Thank you for having me today.
This is interesting, and you and I talked earlier on the phone. We know that this is not going to change Coca-Cola's corporate plan probably, but it's a ripple in the water that hopefully will gain momentum. First of all, when did you all vote on this?
It was a week ago, yes.
Okay.
On Monday night. It was, a week ago Monday night, and on the 17th.
And who got the ball rolling? Decided, you know what? We're just to the frustration I just expressed. I imagine you have the same frustration up in Surry County. Who decided we're going to do something about it?
Well, it was my idea, and Commissioner Van Tucker as well. He's from Pilot Mountain, North Carolina, and so we basically decided that we were going to push back against this out of control corporate media collusion to affect the political process in our country. And I think it's just absolutely reached a tipping point. And we thought about the best way to do this, and so we came up with this idea, and we decided to implement it, and I can tell you it has garnered a lot of attention.
Now, the Carolina Journal is reporting that there's 5 commissioners. The vote was actually 3-2 in favor of removing the machines. Was there what kind of argument did the 2 individuals who voted against it? Why did they express any reason why they were not for this idea?
Well, they were super sensitive to the 35 or 40 employees at the local Coca-Cola facility near Mount Airy. And so it was basically just out of some sort of sympathy for the employees.
But the other side of that coin is, that's going to get some attention at the local Coca-Cola plant, which is probably going to get down to Atlanta, I would think.
Oh, it has went to Charlotte, and it has went to Atlanta, and Coca-Cola Consolidated out of Charlotte has already been in touch with us, reaching out, trying to have some sort of dialogue to walk this back. And, it was a very polite, reasonable conversation. And my question to them was, have you expressed your outrage from Charlotte to Atlanta about the policies of Coca-Cola and getting involved in politics? For heaven's sake, millions of conservatives and Republicans in this country and independents drink Coca-Cola and use their products. And so it just flies in the face of common sense why in the world they would do this. But as we all know, they were just trying to placate this bigoted left-wing, out-of-control mob that's going on in the country now.
Well, what kind of response did Coca-Cola give you, though?
Well, basically, they wanted us to walk this back and have a meeting and have a dialogue and try to come to some kind of understanding here. And for the most part, they told us that the Coke Consolidated in Charlotte is somewhat an independent subsidiary of Coca-Cola in Atlanta. But, I told them, nevertheless, it is the same brand. And Coca-Cola is going to have to pay a price. And if millions of Americans get behind this and start taking notice of what's going on, this is going to have a grassroots effect because all politics are local. And it just, like I said, it's ludicrous on its face. It's wrong on so many levels. And Americans are going to push back. And, they've invited me to the Coca-Cola plant to tour it and have a discussion. But we're not going to walk this back.
We're talking to Surry County Commissioner Eddie Harris. He has proposed a resolution, I guess you would call it, to take the Coca-Cola machines out of Surry County government buildings in protest to against Coca-Cola's wokeness, and they're pushing an agenda that is basically following in the footsteps of critical race theory. In fact, the Carolina Journal article has a line in there saying Coca-Cola also promoted an employee training seminar in which participants were told to try to be less white. How does Coca-Cola explain, Eddie, how exactly do you be less white?
Well, I really don't understand that. We have a very, I think this country's done very well in race relations since the passage of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. But and this country is a loving and caring and a humane country, and it is so wrong for all of this racial division to be going on and major corporations stirring this racial division in our country. We need to move past race, and but as we all know, it's for a political agenda. It serves the purposes of a major political party in this country, and they're going to continue to stoke these racial divisions, and they're going to continue to try to influence corporations to impact public policy in their favor. And so it's a grand plan of the left wing in America to basically affect public policy, and they've been quite successful at it since, in the last 6 months particularly. And but I think Americans have had a belly full of it, and you're going to start seeing some pushback.
Well, what kind of response have you gotten from your constituents?
It has been overwhelmingly positive. I have had a few people send me emails. I had a couple of phone calls, but it basically goes like this, Tom. These people, the problem they have with this is they think that they should be able to operate and act with impunity, and everyone else is supposed to sit back in the corner and cower and just simply remain silent and take it. So when you start pushing back on these people in a big way like I have, they don't like it. They want you to remain silent, and that's not the way the body politic works in this country. We have freedom of speech and freedom of expression, and this is a marketplace of ideas, and it is my contention that the conservative political philosophy in the marketplace of ideas against this woke counterculture that we're seeing will win every single time. They simply have no argument that they can substantiate with any credibility.
Oh yeah, when you have a fictional narrative, it's going to have so many holes in it. Truth is always going to prevail over this narrative that they just pretty much make up as they go along. Let me ask you this: when I talked to you earlier this morning, you were saying that you have gotten requests from national media outlets on this.
Well, yeah. Well, the first interview I did was WXII 12 in Winston-Salem, Greensboro Marketplace. But we have also sent this to One American News Network, Stephanie Hamill, as well as Tucker Carlson and Laura Ingraham. Our board passed a tremendous resolution against big tech that was actually written by Representative Patricia Morgan in the Rhode Island legislature, and it's a phenomenal resolution against big tech's attack on freedom of speech and fairness. And we received a lot of coverage on that. Actually, I did an interview with Stephanie Hamill on One American News Network cable on that particular item as well. But my message across North Carolina would be this, Tom. Billy Graham once upon a time said courage is contagious. If you're listening to this and you're a county commissioner or you're a school board member or you're a town councilman, look, this is well within your purview to take positions on these issues because it does affect your citizens on a local level, a county level, and a state level. And it is well within your rights to act in this fashion. And I would encourage these people to fight critical race theory at the school board level. Make sure this is not in your school. Make sure that Coca-Cola and these major corporations are held accountable. Make sure that your municipality or your county is not complicit in using taxpayer dollars to fund this insane left-wing bigoted ideology.
Bingo. Well, the interesting thing, too, Eddie, is when you stand firm on these issues, the other side eventually cowers. They try to bully you, but when they know that you mean business and you're not going to, for example, you're not going to back down on this Coca-Cola resolution, taking the machines out, they begin to understand. They want you to cower. They want you to back down. But when you stand firm, they begin to reconsider where they're coming from. And, boy, I agree with you. I mean, we cover about a third of the state. I would love for some of these other county commissioners who are listening in, pick up the idea from Eddie Harris and up at the Surrey County Commissioners and run with it in your county. Maybe then, again, what you have done, some will say, big deal, 12 Coke machines. It's not the Coke machines. It's the principle behind it.
Absolutely, and you have to get in these people's pocketbook. And actually, worse than what they hate, worse than that, is the PR disaster that is unfolding because of people like you, Tom, in the state of North Carolina that has a major audience. That is what they really fear, is the PR disaster. And it is unfolding as we speak, and it is reaching a fever pitch. These people are weak as pond water, and you are right. They simply start withering in the sun when you come after them, and when they're exposed. And so, stand up, stand tall, be proud, take up for this country and the free enterprise system, and take up for the rule of law and freedom of speech and the marketplace of ideas that makes this country great. You have nothing to fear. This is well within your rights. Stand up and be tall.
Eddie Harris calling in from Surrey County, North Carolina. Eddie, I think you've got some political future down the road. I'm ready for you to announce your run for governor.
Well, I enjoy. I love my country, and I enjoy speaking out on these issues, and I enjoy the public policy component of it. And we need good people to run for political office. I'm happy where I'm at for the moment. I'm not going to discount anything in the future, but nevertheless, we need good people in political office.
Well, God bless you for what you're doing and the stand you're taking up there in Surrey County, and we hope many of our other county commissioners across the eastern part of the state are listening in, and they will take your ideas and run with it. Eddie, thanks.
Thank you, Tom. Have a good day.
You too. Have a great weekend. Hey, we're going to take another time out. Stay with us. Much more to come. News and Views will continue right after this.
Some time back, I received in the name of our country the bodies of 4 Marines who had died while on active duty. I said then that there is a special sadness that accompanies the death of a serviceman, for we're never quite good enough to them. Not really, we can't be, because what they gave us is beyond our powers to repay. And so when a serviceman dies, it's a tear in the fabric, a break in the whole, and all we can do is remember. It is, in a way, an odd thing to honor those who died in defense of our country, in defense of us, in wars far away. The imagination plays a trick. We see these soldiers in our mind as old and wise. We see them as something like the founding fathers, grave and gray-haired. But most of them were boys when they died, and they gave up 2 lives, the one they were living and the one they would have lived. When they died, they gave up their chance to be husbands and fathers and grandfathers. They gave up their chance to be revered old men. They gave up everything for our country, for us. We owe them a debt we can never repay. All we can do is remember them and what they did and why they had to be brave for us.
normal?
I have to believe we will be a pendulum swinging back.
That almost never happens.
It's got to start now.
We adjust, adapt, and move on.
Everything comes in cycles.
It will happen eventually.
Now your new abnormal world awaits.
One more day, and maybe our lives in this state can get back to normal, but I don't think we'll ever discover what normal is again.
And the journey begins here with news and views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Welcome back in News and Views for a Friday. Again, we want to thank all those who gave it all to protect our freedoms as we enter into Memorial Day. Interesting conversation with Commissioner Eddie Harris from Surry County, North Carolina. And the wokeness, the critical race theory, the progressiveness, the social justice, all the above. It is some people out there, I guess, sincerely believe it. But there's a lot of people out there that are making big bucks off of it. Ask Al Sharpton. Ask Jesse Jackson. Ask Wee Willie Barber. They will tell you racism pays. You can now add to that list the name of Patrisse Cullors. She is the BLM co-founder. She has now stepped down from BLM after she obtained 4 mansions, possibly 5, in her pursuit of a Marxist life. I think this is the definition of irony. She is a self-avowed Marxist. The BLM website, now they've erased this. There are plenty of screenshots of this, that BLM is a Marxist organization. And again, she is a self-avowed Marxist, Marxist who is raking in the big bucks. BLM co-founder, mega millionaire, Marxist race baiter, and mansion collector Patrisse Cullors is stepping down from BLM amidst a financial scandal. It seems Cullors has made enough money off the bodies of dead black men. She told AP it's time to focus on her second book and her TV deal with Warner Brothers. You got to be kidding me. Isn't that interesting, though, how these wealthy race baiters, they'll condemn free enterprise and capitalism while they're raking in the money as fast as they can, and they never get caught? I mean, Al Sharpton, who was all about Obama's policies, and Obama loved to say, everybody should pay their fair share. How many millions does Al Sharpton still owe the IRS? If it was you or I, we'd be in jail. Not Al. Cullors says leaving her BLM has been planned for about a year and has nothing to do with the New York Post story regarding her 4 mansions, all in white neighborhoods. I mean, this is the other thing. She condemned whiteys and white neighborhoods. She labeled the New York Post story racist and full of white supremacy. Cullors acquired her swanky empire while stating that the housing market is racist and full of white supremacists. That's what she said about the housing market. Now she owns 4 homes, working on a 5th, all in predominantly white markets. One of the homes she bought outside of Malibu has a that area. It's called Topanga Canyon, Topanga Canyon, California, outside of Malibu. The black population there is 1.4%. You can't make this stuff up, and but she is, the fact that. Where's the numbers that they have raked in is unbelievable. I'm trying to say I've got 2 stories here. Yeah, the BLM Foundation told the Associated Press in February that it had raised $90 million during last year's racial justice protest. And after they've paid off their expenses, they still have $60 million in the bank. And this individual who heads up this 501c3, and of course they're denying, I just got paid. She's saying she got paid $100,000, something like that. And No. I did nothing wrong. I think this is the, saying, well, in fact, BLM said of this, as a registered 501c3 nonprofit, the foundation cannot and did not commit any organizational resources toward the purchase of any personal property by any employee or volunteer. Any insinuation or assertion to the contrary is categorically false. I think this is the same thing that Jim Baker of the PTL Club was saying through his tears as they let him off in handcuffs. The difference? Jim Baker would have been labeled as a white conservative. I was never a huge Jim Baker fan. I thought he was he was a fraud. He admitted he was a fraud after he was in prison. But will anything happen to Kohlers? No. What will happen to her? Same thing happened to Jesse Jackson. Zip. Nada. Nothing. We got to take another time out. Lots more to talk about. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Some time back, I received in the name of our country the bodies of 4 Marines who had died while on active duty. I said then that there is a special sadness that accompanies the death of a serviceman, for we're never quite good enough to them. Not really, we can't be, because what they gave us is beyond our powers to repay. And so when a serviceman dies, it's a tear in the fabric, a break in the whole, and all we can do is remember. It is, in a way, an odd thing to honor those who died in defense of our country, in defense of us, in wars far away. The imagination plays a trick. We see these soldiers in our mind as old and wise. We see them as something like the founding fathers, grave and gray-haired. But most of them were boys when they died, and they gave up 2 lives, the one they were living and the one they would have lived. When they died, they gave up their chance to be husbands and fathers and grandfathers. They gave up their chance to be revered old men. They gave up everything for our country, for us. We owe them a debt we can never repay. All we can do is remember them and what they did and why they had to be brave for us.
Break the chain. Eat local. Tiebreakers.
Hey, this is Hank Hinton back here at Full Service Flooring in Winterville. I'm here today with Corey Little, who's the operations manager here at Full Service Flooring. Corey's been here 6 months, but you've been in construction a long time. Tell us about what you do here at Full Service Flooring.
Yeah, I got over here about 6 months ago. I've been in construction for, like I said, a little over 20 years, and I've known Tim for a long time now, and he's brought me over here to see what new kind of things I can bring to the store and to our customers. And I'm in charge of scheduling, and I don't know what else. I'm in charge of everything, it seems like.
This is your Drive at 5 and ENC with Tom Lamprecht. Welcome back to News and Views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Welcome back in. 10 minutes before the top of the hour. Fox News is reporting conservative watchdog Judicial Watch is suing Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Of course, she's a Dem. I'm repeating myself. Chicago Mayor, Democrat. They're suing that on behalf of the Daily Caller News Foundation. The group announced this yesterday over her policy of granting interviews. Now, this is self-proclaimed. We're not making this up. She's boldly and proudly announcing that she will only, as the mayor of Chicago, she will only grant interviews to non-white reporters. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how racism has gone full circle, that the people who decried racism, the liberals who decried racism, we ought to abandon it, get rid of it entirely, who praised Martin Luther King Jr., who said, we should not judge a person by the color of the skin, but the content of their character. Those same people are now saying, we are judging you by the color of your skin, period, end of report. The lawsuit alleges Lightfoot violated reporter Thomas Cantasia's equal protection rights under the 14th Amendment when she didn't respond to multiple requests for interviews, as well as his First Amendment rights. Lightfoot made waves earlier this month when she announced she would only grant one-on-one interviews to black and brown reporters upon the 2-year anniversary of her taking office, scolding the Chicago media for its overwhelming whiteness. I'm not kidding you. Preventing journalists from doing our jobs in such blatantly discriminatory way is wrong and does a disservice to our readers who come from all backgrounds. Every journalist and every person who consumes the news should be concerned about Mayor Lightfoot's actions. This affects everyone. I look forward to holding the mayor accountable. It's mind-boggling that liberals are letting her get away with this. In fact, not only are they letting her get away with this, but I was watching an interview last night in which CNN was defending her, saying that this is right, this is fine, this is good. So on what basis do you say, okay, my version of racism is okay, but yours is not? Now, racism is wrong across the board. There is no right version of it. But how do you get away with it? How do you get away with saying, okay, because of the scenario that I am coming up with, I can discriminate. I can be a racist, and it's fine. PJ Media is announcing and reporting that an Atlanta city councilman who voted to defund the Atlanta police by $73 million last year, was going to a ribbon cutting for a brand new Dunkin' Donuts down in Atlanta, broad daylight, middle of the day. Antonio Brown, who'd like to run for mayor, I think he's actually announced a candidacy for mayor of Atlanta, at the ribbon cutting. And while he was at the ribbon cutting, it was a fairly new Mercedes-Benz. And apparently, he might not want to spend a whole lot of time complaining about his car being stolen because dating back to 2012, he has been under the microscope for some, making money off of claiming credit card fraud, that he's been the victim of credit card fraud. And he is, by using that, he has been charged with alleged attempts to defraud financial institutions. Not that he was committing the fraud, but somehow he was trying to get these financial institutions to somehow make him whole. This is a disturbing story out of Virginia. An elementary school physical education teacher in Virginia has been placed on leave after an explosive speech in which he told his school board he wouldn't affirm that a biological boy can be a girl and vice versa. This is up in Loudoun County. There's been a lot of controversy in Loudoun County with critical race theory. He said, "My name is Tanner Cross. I'm speaking out of the love for those who are suffering from gender dysphoria." He went on to discuss a 60-minute special. We talked about this on Monday that aired last Sunday night. Interviewed over 30 young people who transitioned, but they felt led astray because of lack of pushback or how easy it was to make physical changes to their body, and now they are in the midst of detransitioning. It's not my intention to hurt anyone, but there are certain truths that we must face when ready. We condemn school policies that would damage children defile the holy image of God. I love all my students, but I will never lie to them regardless of the consequences. I am a teacher, but I serve God first, and I will not affirm that a biological boy can be a girl or vice versa because it's against my religion. It's lying to a child, it's abuse to a child, and it's sinning against our God. And this person has been put on leave. Again, his name is Tanner Cross. There is a policy, it's policy 8040, which requires Loudoun County Public School staff to use preferred pronouns. The policy says the Loudoun County Public School staff shall allow gender-expansive or transgender students to use their chosen name and gender pronouns that reflect their gender identity without any substantiating evidence, regardless of the name and the gender recorded in the student's permanent educational record. This gentleman, this phys ed teacher, has said, I won't do it. It is lying to the kids. It is dangerous. The people that are proposing this they're complicit to child abuse, because when you allow this to carry forth, when you allow these children to think that they are something that they are not, it could lead to transitioning, it could lead to surgery, it could lead to chemical castration, and it is lying, and it is child abuse. And 3 cheers for Mr. Tanner Cross, who has said, you know what, there are things more important than my job as a phys ed teacher. I'm not going to lie to my kids. God bless him. We need more people like him. We need more people like Surrey County Commissioner Eddie Harris. Hey, listen, have a great Memorial Day weekend. We're off on Monday. We'll see you Tuesday at 5 o'clock. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right. To cash when you cash in your trade-in at Greenville Toyota. Get up to 125% of book value for your vehicle, even if you don't buy from us. Trade for Camry, $189 a month. Now at Greenville Toyota.
In North Carolina, we get up before the sun rises and stay up into the wee hours of the night. We believe in working hard and playing harder. Behind every meal, there's a farmer, and behind every farmer, there's Got to Be NC, the official state identity program for North Carolina agricultural products. Look for the Got to Be NC logo wherever you shop or eat, and you'll know you're getting a quality product grown, raised, caught, or made in North Carolina.
We're on location at Fabric and Home Furnishings, and I'm back with my friend Lisa Pendry. And Lisa's been telling me about all the great renovations that have been going on here in the store, and I've been looking around, and it looks fantastic. Tell us what you've done here.
Well, we've knocked some walls down, we've painted, we've added some new vendors, lots of new exciting things going on. So we're making room for everybody to get what they need to transform their homes.
Looks fantastic in here. Last time we talked, you were saying that you were able to deliver a lot faster than most other furniture stores. Is that still the case?
It is. It's changed a little bit, but we're still looking at around 8 to 10 week delivery, and we do sell our floor samples right off the floor.
All right, we always say that Fabric and Home Furnishings is more than just a fabric store, so tell us what the more is all about. What when people come in, what should they expect?
Well, we love to get to know our customers. I have the best crew I've ever had, and everybody on my team is an interior designer. So we offer in-home design service, which we always have, but now they can each come out to your home after they work with you in here, figure out what's going on in your residence or your commercial property to pull it together and help you make everything beautiful.
You got great folks here.
I do.
I can tell you, I haven't gotten to know them. It's like a family when you come in here, and everybody gets along well, and you can tell that these guys and gals really know what they're talking about when it comes to interior design.
They do, and that's really what makes us different. We offer complete in-home design service. We don't charge a by-the-hour fee. It's a flat one-time fee. We work with you in here, in your home, in your business, and help pull everything together.
All right, it's more than just a fabric store. Fabric and Home Furnishings in Arlington Village. Come see this lady. She's fantastic. Fabric and Home Furnishings. Come see the renovations here in Arlington Village. And thank you for the visit today.
Thank you, Henry.
All right, you got to come see what they've done in the store here on Arlington Boulevard in Arlington Village.
Cash in your trade-in now at Greenville Toyota. We need your vehicle, and it's never been worth more. Get cash for your vehicle today, up to 125% of book value. Then trade into a new Corolla, $159 a month. Now at Greenville Toyota.